Well, welcome back. Simple Interest Video 3 as we continue our introduction into the world of banking and understanding the borrowing of money. Later on, we'll also be looking at the investment of money, which will also be an application of the simple interest formula. Let's review that formula right now. Simple interest. I equals PRT. Interest equals principal times rate times time. And in the previous lessons, we learned that the principal is the amount that you borrow. Rate is the actual price of that money. And that is expressed as a percentage. And time must be in years. And so we had some practice converting time, such as months, into years. And then I, of course, is the interest, is the amount of money that must be paid back based on a particular interest rate and a factor of the time, the amount of time that you actually borrow that money. So today in this lesson, what we want to do is expand on the simple interest formula by introducing a new term known as maturity value. And so maturity value is the total amount that must be paid back when money is borrowed. Let's go ahead and modify our interest worksheet, and I've put numbers 5 through 9 here. Those will be our next problems. And then let's head up to G11, and we'll go ahead and put in a column heading for maturity value. And these columns here were a width of 20. We can go ahead and do that again. And I'll give you a moment to finish that. Let's also go ahead and practice inserting a comment. We used those in a previous lesson. And so here's how you do that. Click on maturity value cell, G11, and right-click, insert comment. And then we can go ahead and we will type our definition of maturity value. There we go. I'll leave that up there for you to key that in. And then when you finish that, come on back and we'll talk about that briefly. Maturity value is the full amount of money that must be repaid when a loan is due, and it is equal to principal plus interest. I'm going to make that a little wider. So that's how you can format these comments to look the way you want, and of course you can move those around. Now the word maturity here for this term maturity value is referring to the duration or the amount of time for the loan. If you have a loan for 5 years or for 60 months, then the maturity value is the end of that particular period of time. The loan matures, reaches the end of its life, if you will. So maturity value, the full amount. So I believe we briefly talked about this in a previous lesson, but I always want to keep in mind that if you borrow an amount of money known as the principal, then you have to pay back a certain amount of interest, but you also have to pay back the amount that you actually borrowed. And so the maturity value then is the entire amount. It's the principal plus the interest. Let's go ahead and do some quick calculations here. Put a border underneath that. Now, if you want that to stick around, this comment, remember, right-click, show hide comment. So you can leave it up there if you wish. Some of those other ones, I believe that in the previous lesson, yes, we just put those there, and so they show up when we're interested in those. So it's a nice way to take notes. Refer back to these. So let's go ahead and calculate the maturity value. Equal sign, very simple calculation. Principal plus interest. There we go. And we could, because we have this relative referenced formula, we could go ahead and copy that formula over to the rest of these calculations. Two ways to do that. Control C to copy, and then select where you would like to paste it. Control V. Or we could right-click, copy, select, paste, and I realize this is review, but practice is a good thing. And of course, the other way you could do it is to use that fill handle, which is right here, which would copy the contents of cell G13 and maintain this same reference. 4 cells to the left plus the 1 cell to the left gives you that answer. So there we go, maturity value. So I'm going to put up some new values for you to use for this lesson, for you to go ahead and do the calculations. I will put in the principal amount, the rate and the time, and then you will calculate the interest and maturity value. And so here are the values for you. Items 5 through 9. Principal amount. The rate, make sure you appropriately and correctly convert those to a percentage. And then the same thing with time. Here's your time, and you're going to have to convert this, remember, to years. And then go ahead and calculate the interest and the maturity value. And so this will conclude Simple Interest, video number 3. I look forward to coming around and seeing your work.